Yes, guys, Premier League Game Week 23 predictions. Let's get into it. First up, we have West Ham versus Sunderland. I am telling you, West Ham this season they are going on relegation because these guys they've been on an atrocious form. Their form has been nothing but abysmal in the Premier League. Sunderland, on the other hand, they are doing perfectly well. And now that they have their players back from AFCON, trust me, they're not just going to be staying in that ninth position, they'll be jumping higher, possibly competing for European spots this season. This game, although it's going to be played at the London Stadium in West Ham's home, but I still see it being a 1-1 draw. Yes, exactly. Nothing will change am for West Ham for this game. Next game we have Fulham versus Brighton. Now the funny thing about the Premier League is that last game week was full of draws. It was everything around draw soup. But this week I see plenty of goals. Forget the fact that I just predicted a draw between West Ham and Sunderland. This game is going to be awesome. Now, both these two teams they are sitting fairly at the mid-table level in the Premier League. Fulham is sitting on 11th position while Brighton is on 12. And yes, both of them in their last 5 games, Fulham has had 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. Brighton has had only 1 win, 3 draws, and 1 loss in the Premier League because that's how the Premier League is full of confusion. But this time around, I see it turning out in a very, very different way. I see Fulham, at least for the mere fact that they will be at the Craven Cottage, I see them edging this one 2-1. Next game we have Burnley versus Tottenham. Burnley, their fate is sealed. Yes, relegation is sure die for them this season. Tottenham, on the other hand, Thomas Frank is under hot cold. The team they burn for am. Yes, they did have that win over Borussia Dortmund at their home, at the White Hart Lane, the Champions League. And surprise, surprise, they're in the top 5 of the Champions League table, Tottenham Hotspur. But then again, this time around, they are playing Burnley. And although, yes, they will be away from home, I still see them carrying that momentum from the Champions League back into the Premier League. I see them edging this one 3 goals to 1. Yes, they will beat Burnley. Next game, of course, we have Manchester City versus Wolves. You will not believe what has been happening to Manchester City. That is, if you've not been watching football. But if you've been watching football, you will see it with your own eyes and you believe it in your heart. Now, Manchester City is not winning Premier League this season. Why? Because their form has been terrible in the Premier League, in the Champions League. Everywhere they turn, everywhere their belly turn is terrible for them. They got beat in the Champions League by Bodo Glimt, a club that, in fact, they are just full of fishermen, nothing serious. But this time around, they are playing the Premier League shit packer in Wolves, bottom of the table at home. So if they don't win this game, they should just pack it up because there will be too much gap between themselves and Arsenal, the Premier League leaders, this season. In any case, I see this being, because Manchester City has to respond. So I see this being a 3-0 Manchester City battering of Wolves. Next game we have, of course, is Bournemouth versus Liverpool. Surprise, surprise. You people laughing at Liverpool. You people saying Liverpool, they are the worst defending champions in the history of the Premier League. You will eat your words because guess what? Liverpool are back. Did you see what they did to Marseille in the Champions League? 3-0, 3-0 in France. Yes, they are back. And even so, in the league, their form has been quite awesome. You understand? They've been performing well. Yes, they've drawn a couple of games. But who hasn't in the Premier League? Every team in the Premier League currently now is going through something we cannot explain. There's no single team that has a run of 5 consecutive wins. But this time around, I think Liverpool are starting their own run. I see this game going Liverpool's way. Yes, Bournemouth have been trying, but their form has been terrible. They only have like 1 win in their last 5 games. So I see this being a Liverpool 2-1 win. Don't forget, Mo Salah is back. So let's go. You never walk alone. Next game, of course, we have is Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. Crystal Palace, they are in a world of pain because let me tell you something. First of all, they lost easy to Arsenal. Now, Gehi has gone to Man City. Their coach, Oliver Glasner, is leaving at the end of the season. As a matter of fact, their striker, Mateta, may be going to Aston Villa this January. If he doesn't go to Aston Villa, he'll probably be going to Chelsea. And guess who they are playing? Chelsea. Exactly. At the Selhurst Park. I don't see them escaping. As a matter of fact, if they are not careful, Crystal Palace may be drawn into the relegation battle. Yes, they have, very good points on board right now, but they have to sit up. And Chelsea have been doing well. Under Liam Resinoa, they're doing quite okay. I mean, they're winning games. Yes, they struggled against Pafos in the Champions League, but I see them bouncing back and thrashing these guys 2 goals to 0. Let's go. Next game here we have is Newcastle versus Aston Villa. In fact, what can I say? Aston Villa had the opportunity to close the gap between themselves and the league leaders Arsenal to just 4 points, but they don't it. They floundered it, they squandered all their chances. They're like the prodigal son. You give them everything, they'll waste it, and they'll come back and beg you for some scraps. Yes, that's what has been happening to them. They allowed Everton to come to their home and thrash them. That is so disappointing. Like, you can't do that. Although we can't really blame them, because yes, they are losing. They lost Kamara. They lost McGinn again in that match. They've sold Marlen this January. So I guess, and they don't have that much squad depth. But of course, they're trying to buy Mateta from Crystal Palace and trying to bring in one or two other players. Because if they don't, I'm telling you, that top five spot even may be difficult for them. They may not even get that Champions League spot, because the people behind them, Liverpool, Manchester United, and Chelsea, they are all coming with the fire. You understand? So they need to buckle up if they want to make it to Europe. Let's go. In this game, basically, Newcastle versus Aston Villa, I see this ending in a 2-all draw. Yes, Aston Villa will come with their first team playing well, but for the fact that they are going to the St. James's Park, I don't see these guys allowing them to get home with anything. So I see them ending in a 2-2 draw. Next game we have is Brentford versus Nottingham Forest. Now, Brentford have been quite unfortunate. In the last game they played against Chelsea, yes, they lost 2-0, but I don't think that was a deserving result for them, because they played really, really well. Chelsea didn't really perform that much, in my opinion, in that game. But yes, of course, they got the result, which is what matters. 3 points is what everybody is here for. We're not here for playing well. We're just here for the 3 points. And yes, of course, Nottingham Forest, they drew that game to Arsenal. They stifled Arsenal and reduced them to basically nothing in that game. You understand? Trying to keep the Premier League title race open. In this game, however, for the mere fact that they are going to Brentford's home, and of course, they will not be playing that low block because they are not the league leaders they are playing against. So I see Nottingham Forest coming out and trying to get the win here. That way they can escape from the relegation, because currently relegation is pulling them. Relegation is calling them. In any case, I see Brentford edging this one with a win, with a narrow 1-goal win. Next game, of course, we have the game of the week. Arsenal versus Manchester United. This is the big one, the ejala of them all. Arsenal versus Manchester United is going to be awesome. You know why? Of course, Manchester United are back. Yes, you heard it here first. Manchester United are back. And it's not just for the fact that they have a new coach in Michael Carrick, being an interim coach, but it doesn't really matter. Did you see what they did to Manchester City? They completely destroyed and annihilated Manchester City. They made Manchester City look like babies. Yes, Manchester United. I miss the days of Sir Alex Ferguson, when they will catch Manchester City and tolerate them, those noisy neighbors. But now we just get Manchester City just dominating everybody. Manchester United has put them back in their place. Yes, if you're angry, go and hug transformer in your area. I said it here. Man U are back. And in this game, they are going to scatter Arsenal. But I still don't see them winning Arsenal. You know why? Because Arsenal have not lost a single game at the Emirates this season. And guess where they are going? They are going to the Emirates. Yes. And Arsenal have played Bayern. They played Atletico. They have played some big teams there. Manchester City went there and played a low block. Liverpool went there and played a low block. I see Man U coming up with something smart, something out of the textbook of football. I see Man U going to play a low block, a mid block, and then hitting Arsenal on the counter, because that is the only way they can get a result against this formidable Arsenal team. At the end of the day, the whole Bunge prediction I have for this game, and don't forget, this is not just a prediction, it's a spoiler, because you come back here and thank me when we're doing the match review. This is going to end 2-1 to the Arsenal. And then the final game for game week 23 in the Premier League, we have Everton versus Leeds United. Yes, Everton pulled off that miraculous, that wonder performance when they went to Aston Villa. They played a 1-0 win, and that was all they needed. Just score one goal, lock up shop, and take a whole 3 points. Because guess what? Football is all about scoring and your 3 points. It's not about long talk. However you want to do it. This time around, they'll be playing at home at their new stadium, the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Yes, Leeds United, they've been performing well too. They want to also escape relegation. They are trying to open the gap between themselves and the other relegation battlers. You understand? But this time around, I think it's going to be a little bit challenging for them, considering the fact that they will be playing at Everton. So Everton will be looking to consolidate on the previous win. You understand? And then they will be taking this one with a narrow 2-1 win. And with that, we have come to the end of our spoiler video for Game Week 23. Don't forget, it's a spoiler, it's not a prediction. On this channel, we give you all things legit. Yes, and if you've enjoyed the video and stayed long with us to this point, like the video. Is absolutely free. It will not cost you anything, but it will help your brother from another mother. And together, we shall make this channel awesome. Yes. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel too. And yes, turn on notification, because that's the only way you will see the next video we post on this channel about all things football related. My name is Mark Fish, and I'll see you in the next one.